Hey everybody, welcome back to the special breaking news edition of One Clue Short of a Treasure. Today we're doing a deep dive into the Quarter Hoarder, I should say, YouTube channel interview with Jon Collins Black. I'll drop a link in the video in the description to the interview. I'll break down all the answers to the questions in detail. The interviewer is not part of the hunt, but some of the questions were more about whys and general questions. So I'll give a brief summary of those, but I will give you a full quotes on the ones that are more meaningful to the hunt. And trust me, there's one moment in particular where he admits that searchers may have already been close. You heard it right. May have already been close, and we'll highlight that when we get to it. So sit back and get ready to hear all that he said. The first question from Quarter Hoarder is, for those of you who may not be familiar, can you give us a quick overview of There's Treasure Inside and how the hunt works? So basically, this was just a plain overview of the hunt for people not familiar with the book or treasure hunt. So basically, this was just a plain overview of the hunt for people not familiar with the book or treasure hunt. There's treasure inside in a nationwide hunt with five hidden chests. Each one is packed with gold, artifacts, collectibles, even physical Bitcoin. Then he goes on that there's four smaller chests holds clues that ultimately point searchers towards a much large grand prize. So the next question was, what was going through your mind when you walked away from hiding the treasure chest, knowing that you left millions of dollars just sitting out there? JCB replied to him, relief. I'm glad no one saw me, and I'm glad I was able to pull this off. So JCB has officially confirmed that no one saw him hide the boxes and that he successfully pulled this off. The next question was, would you consider the hunt more rooted in puzzle mechanics or creative thinking? JCB basically said the largest treasure box, basically anywhere in the book, probably about creative thinking a lot. 4 chapters, however, dedicated to each of the 4 boxes are more puzzles, gamified, puzzles oriented. But there is a certain amount of creative energy that goes into that too. He wanted different types of clues, elements, because different people think differently. The next question was, in your opinion, what's the biggest mistake that people are making when they first start out the hunt? JCB goes on to say, sometimes you can start down a rabbit hole and go too far. What JCB himself doesn't lurk around social media, but he does have people he knows who do that for him, and they sometimes report back. He goes on to say that there are things that people have definitely gone down the right track, but goes on to say that sometimes you can go down a rabbit hole and go too far. He restates that he doesn't think anybody needs to be a brilliant person to solve what I have. I think there are probably elements that are a little bit more difficult, but most people are solving those already. And then there are things that may just be so simple that people are missing it. The next question. I've read you had designed the puzzle to hopefully be found in 8 to 10 years. Is that accurate? JCB corrects the interview and says that he would be happy if the treasure took 5 or 6 or 10 years to find all 5 boxes, because it gives more people a chance to learn about it and to participate. But he has no idea if that would happen. He does say that it is kind of surprised at least one of the boxes haven't been found this year. He goes, I do think that once there are 2 boxes found, it will be easier to actually find the others. I don't know if that's true, but I think it might be. The next question. Would you have advice for someone new to puzzles if they had felt stuck and overwhelmed? This is where he talks about escape rooms. JCB says, if you've never gone to do an escape room, maybe go do an escape room just to get the idea of how things are engineered. At the same time, I would just read the chapters carefully, he says. And also, there's a lot of illustrations in the book that I was responsible for myself. So I'd pay attention to every aspect of the book. And obviously, there are some poems, and I think those are probably pretty important also. If you've ever done puzzles before, go to an escape room with some friends to check it out. Then he goes to the next question. What mindset separates people who progress in the hunt from those who give up just so quickly? Once you go out and start searching, it can become more fun. It becomes more dimensional, he says. Some people sit at home working so hard, but just go out into nature. That's what it's all about. Someone's going to find these treasures, he says, but just being out there makes it alive. You'll have aspects that keep you engaged. Even if you're not looking in the right direction at first, he says, it doesn't matter. Just being out will empower you and give you a perspective you wouldn't otherwise have. So I think JCB stresses to go out and start searching, that it becomes more fun. That is what this is all about after all. If you're not looking in the right direction at first, it doesn't really matter. Just being out will empower you and give you a perspective you wouldn't otherwise have. Then goes to the next question. He goes, do you think collaboration will play a role in finding these, or do you picture a solo person going all the way? JCB basically goes on to say the hunt could be cracked by the crowd or just one determined searcher. Now for the big question. The interviewer says, have you seen online anyone that's gotten closer than they may have even realized? This is JCB quoted. I think so. Yeah. I think so. Yeah, I really been surprised at least one box hasn't been found. But yes, definitely. To me, this is a big moment. He confirms people have been close. That's a direct acknowledgement and one of the most important lines in the whole interview. Again, he is surprised one of them has not been found yet. The interview then says, when someone finds the first chest, how do you expect that moment to unfold? So basically, JCB says high likelihood the person would be anonymous, but that he did put some incentives for that person to contact him so that he could let people know and also let people know what the solve was. Here's another question. What do you think will surprise people the most once the treasure is actually found? JCB goes on, I'm sure there's going to be a critique of my solve no matter what puzzle it is. There will probably be controversy as far as whether or not they think it was a good or bad solve. And then people will probably try to extrapolate from that solve and my other 4 boxes are. That'll be interesting to see. Quarter Hoarder then goes on to ask, do you have a personal favorite box or puzzle in the hunt? JCB responds, the Pokémon box with inlaid Japanese puzzle box design is so breathtakingly beautiful and probably my favorite box. But I'll tell you, when I took the largest box into the studio with all the items and saw everything together, oh my gosh, that was amazing. Whoever finds the largest box, the lion's share box, is going to be very happy. That's the one worth millions. And then we get to the final question. For those still on the fence, why should they pick up this treasure inside and join it? JCB responds, hopefully the stories really are entertaining. Some are inspirational, there are a few laughs, and people will learn something. I definitely recommend it for people not interested in the hunt. I've gotten feedback from people who aren't searching who still loved it. I hope it stands out on its own. But then he goes on to say, but that's for the readers to decide. So that's the full breakdown of the Quarter Hoarder interview with JCB. We went question by question, and the most important part is clear. When asked if anyone has gotten close, his answer was simple: yes, definitely. That means progress is real. Somebody out there is closer than they even realize. So, what do you think? Do you think someone is close? And the escape room comment: would you like to see more escape room type analyzing when we cover our 4 smaller boxes? Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive or, as in this case, breaking news into There's Treasure Inside. So thanks for watching. And as always, stay curious, stay safe, and stay tuned.